Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for House of the Dragons, Season 1, Episode 2, The Rogue Prince. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching, tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you feel lucky or feel like gambling, you can hit that bell down below, and YouTube may or may not notify you when I come on live, which I'm pretty sure it didn't this time around. Otherwise, you can go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. Change it every week. Also have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages as well. So yeah, sorry for the last couple of days. It's been kind of hectic. I'm getting ready to go on vacation here, so I've been packing up. Also, Resident Alien, I'm probably not covering anymore because that last episode just put me to sleep. I mean, just out completely. And I just didn't have a desire to go back and watch it. So yeah, that's where we stand on that one. So with that said, let's get to this episode, shall we? Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video you can comment down below in the comment section. Giving enough time to hit the pause button, whatever you need to do. There we go. All right. All righty. So yeah, they basically didn't make any bones about this. They reused the Game of Thrones credits in the opening, in the credits. They didn't change it out at all. Which obviously they're just saying this is a continuation of Game of Thrones. Obviously, well, it's a prequel to Game of Thrones. Although the opening sequence is just a bunch of, it looks like houses attacking each other and blood flowing through the different channels that are in this diorama that they've got going on. And it's just nothing but blood after blood after blood after blood after blood. What this means for this story, I don't know for sure, but there's some things. And by the way, the title of this, The Rogue Prince, actually has a dual meaning, but probably no one got it unless you read IMDb and find out one of the characters what their actual name is. And then once you find out the actual name of a certain character, then it becomes apparent why this is not about Damon, the Rogue Prince, but more about another character that we get introduced to in this. We heard about this character in the first episode, but we didn't see them until now. I'm just going to say the crab feeder. So the crab feeder. Okay. So, yeah, the crab feeder is a prince. So there we go. That's about all we know in all of this. So, of course, it's 6 months since Emma has passed and nothing's really changed. Especially for, excuse me, for Rihanna, Rhaenyra, excuse me, Rhaenyra. So she's still a cupbearer. She's basically just kind of hanging out at the council meetings, not getting a say in anything, not getting trained in anything. Nothing's happening for her. In the meantime, the king is still playing footsie with Alicent and Alicent Hightower, and he's sharing more and more stuff with her, including that he wishes that his daughter would talk to him, and she's like, "Oh, why don't you talk to her?" kind of thing. And yeah, so Allison kind of gets caught in the middle of all of this stuff, and at one point she even says that she was not trying to uh, gain favor with the king or become his consort or anything like this. But her father flat out told her, "Why don't you go and visit the king?" He even says it a couple of times in this episode too. He goes, "Well, why don't you? I'm going to go off and talk to Damon and most likely get killed. Why don't you go to the king's quarters tonight and see if you can if you can talk to him?" You know. So yeah, she can't be that fucking naive about this, especially when he ends up announcing that he's going to take her as his next wife. This is after, of course, he gets set up with oh with Rhaenyra's, the Valarian's daughter, their 12-year-old daughter. And that was a fucking disturbing scene right there. Because at one point, they're talking about, yeah, well, Valarian's like, hey, why don't you wed my daughter? It will strengthen our houses. It'll show everyone in the realm that your lineage is not dead, that it's going to move on past this, and it'll strengthen all of us and also our bond. And then the next scene is him walking through the garden with a 12-year-old girl who looked like she was born like 9, and everyone was like, "Oh, I mean, I don't know. For me, I was just like, "Oh, fuck." That was something I wasn't expecting, but kind of was at the same time. And yeah, and then when she says a line that her father told her to say, and the king knows this, and he goes, "Well, what did your mother say?" And she goes, "Well, she said I wouldn't have to bed you until I was 14." I was like, "Fuck, man." So yeah, this series isn't pulling any punches on that end of it either. So we're getting the gore as we got in the first episode, but we're also getting the flat out, just no one really gives a fuck about, I guess you could say modern morals at this point. Um, and also in all of this, we have the crab feeder who is decimating the lanes, the travel, like I should say the trade lanes out in Valarian's world, and his trade route, the shipping routes. And he's doing basically the crab feeder is taking these people and nailing them up to posts on the beach and letting the crabs just eat them alive, literally eat them alive. We actually see crabs crawling in and out of a person's foot as they are moving and trying to, yeah, it's that was fucking disgusting, we'll say. Damon, in the meantime, is also pushing buttons as he can. He takes over one of the keeps. Of course, this is the keep that was supposed to be uh, Rhaenyra's, not Rhaenyra's, Rhaenyra's keep, and says that he is going to take a second wife, which is actually his mistress, his whore, if you will. Uh, yeah, I mean, there's just Massaria, and Massaria, he says, is pregnant, and this is all news to Massaria at this point. So that's why Hightower goes there to negotiate, because the king's going to go because he's kind of pissed off. Oh yeah, and by the way, Damon has also taken the egg that was supposed to be in the crib with the son who died. The king's son who died. So adding insult to injury, and once he finds out that that's the egg that he took, he gets pissed. He's like, "I'm going to go," and Hightower's like, "No." Otto's like, "Nope, sit this one out. I'll go and take care of it." And of course, he goes to take care of it, but Damon's one step ahead of him and has his dragon sitting there and says, "Yeah, make the first move, bitch. I'm going to kill you all and keep what I'm doing." Luckily, they get their ass saved by Rhaenyra, who shows up with her dragon, and pretty much the only person that her uncle's going to listen to anyway, and says, "Hey, by the way, you need to stop this shit. Um, you're going to marry her, this woman, and she's pregnant, right?" And he goes, "Well, she will be one day." So she isn't pregnant. And he goes, "Oh, and here's the egg back," and just kind of tosses it to her. And yeah, basically, if she had not shown up with the dragon, they would have been fucked completely. Otto and his crew would have been done and over with. Um, yeah, so we find out from Massaria that all she wants is security. She doesn't want to feel fear anymore. She's been sold and bought so many times that she's tired of that. And she thought that she had some kind of stability with Damon, which of course she doesn't, because she goes, "Hey, you're playing games with the king. I don't get that luxury, motherfucker. Your head's not going to be on a pike. My head is." And yeah, she's basically telling him to knock that shit off. And of course, he's not going to listen to her. Also, Rhaenyra got to choose the knight of the guard. And of course, who does she pick? Sir Kristen Cole, who is the only knight that has battle experience. So it kind of is a no-brainer. All these other knights are all tourney trained. That's all they have fighting experience with is doing tourneys, not in actual combat. Cole has been a soldier, a foot soldier for a year, fighting. And so he actually has actual experience fighting. She's like, this is a no-brainer. This is protecting me and my father. So by the end of all of this, again, we say we know that Allison is going to be the new queen. The king is going to marry her. And of course, this upsets um, Valerian. And so, what does Valerian do? He ends up going over to Damon and says, "Hey, by the way, your brother is kind of an asshole at what he did to you, and I'm gonna take a, I'm gonna throw in with you at this point." And Damon doesn't rebuff him, but at the same time says, "Don't talk bad about my brother." So he's willing to accept the help that you know this prince is going to give him, and or I should say, this Lord Valerian is going to give him. But at the same time, really doesn't have animosity towards his brother, just the situation that he's in. It's pretty much the same situation that Rhaenyra is in, where they are both not being recognized for who they are and what they offer, what they bring to the table here. And this is all stuff that Rhaenyra had actually told Rhaenyra, Rhaenyra and Rhaenyra, yeah, okay. And there's a tense little scene that we get where Rhaenyra basically tells Rhaenyra, you know, these nobles, they don't give a fuck about you. They want a man on the throne. They will burn all this shit down just so that a woman doesn't get to sit on the throne. And she basically tells her outright, "You're never going to get on the throne. Get used to it, because this is what happened to me as well." And Rhaenyra basically kind of throws it back in her face at one point and says, "No, they didn't accept you. Not because because you're a woman, but they didn't accept you because they didn't like you. But me, on the other hand, they might like." Yeah, that matter is about to be tested. We'll see here. I'm fairly sure the patriarchy, as they're calling it, is going to hold firm on that one. So that's where we stand in all of this. The crab feeder, of course, is going to become a bigger part of this story. Um, what Rhaenyra did by stepping in and kind of overstepping the council by bringing in a dragon to this negotiation with Daemon, or I should say, this demand for of Daemon, um, probably doesn't look too favorable in the council's eyes, but at the same time, she prevented a shitload of bloodshed. Basically, that whole party was done. They would have been gone. They just would have been fried off the top of that, you know, where they were at. They had nowhere to go. They were just standing there on top of that wall and no place to go, no place to hide. The dragon just would have eaten them or burned them alive. So yeah. So good episode. It was a little slow at the beginning there, just kind of getting into things. I do have to admit, I didn't realize that 6 months' time had passed since Emma's death until they mentioned it about, I would say, 20 or 25 minutes into it. And I'm like, okay, um, that's something you could have led with a little bit beforehand and just let us know that time has passed. And because it just seems a bit fast that he's going to say, "Okay, Allison's now my bride." So yeah. And I mean, I understand, he has that responsibility as a king where he has to, provide an heir for the throne, but at the same time, there's got to be a little decorum too. At the same time, it becomes a matter of how much time does he get to mourn his wife before he has to choose another bride, which also is just, it's pretty fucked up when you think about it. He has his own obligations as well, which Rhaenyra basically says, "I understand that, and I'm okay with it." Once they finally get to talking and all that stuff. And that's the other thing that's kind of good about that is it gets them talking at least. But yeah, I mean, at this point, man, the king needs to start listening to his fucking daughter because I mean, she's got some good ideas, and he's just kind of blown her off because she's a woman. Yeah. So that's where we leave off on this episode. Like I said, I'm going on vacation, so that's why this is a bit early, and I'm going to be out of here for a little while. So the next podcast that I'm doing is going to be on Friday. That's right. Friday is going to be what else do I have here? Let me see, because even I don't remember what I put down. I was writing pretty fast and furious as we were doing this. So yeah, Friday is going to be She-Hulk at 12 o'clock, and then Harley Quinn at 2 o'clock. This is all Pacific Standard Time, by the way. And then Lord of the Rings episode 1 at 6 o'clock. That's all on Friday. Saturday is going to be Lord of the Rings episode 2 at 4 o'clock. And then Sunday, we're going to do the Sunday edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week. Any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about, we talk about it. And then, of course, we roll back around to Monday, and we're going to do House of the Dragon all over again there. So go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule up there. I change it every week. Also have all the links to my social media and all the links to my pages there as well. I see all those lurkers in there. Thank you to everybody who is lurking here and watching. And if you're still on the fence about subscribing, you know who you are out there. Take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast viewer library. Vacation brain already. And puts it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, go over to suspendedfanimation.com, like I just said earlier. Yes, CBM. Hey, lurker, that you are. Well, with that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the night. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again on Friday. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you've got a long drive ahead of you for vacation, but it's going to be worth it. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Friday. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, get the boosters as well. They help a lot. And stay safe out there, everyone. Thanks. I will see you again on Friday. Have a good rest of your week, and take care out there. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.